Have you ever attended a funeral or watched a movie scene featuring a burial and noticed someone saying coffin while another says casket and wondered if they are really the same thing? At first glance, it seems like just a different word. But the truth is, there is a real difference that goes far beyond just vocabulary. One is a tapered, traditional box, while the other is a rectangular, polished showcase of craftsmanship. It might sound like a tiny detail, but these differences reflect centuries of design, culture, and even social status. If you dig a little deeper, you'll find a fascinating history traveling from simple wooden boxes in medieval Europe to the elaborate caskets used today. So, what really separates a coffin from a casket, and why does it even matter? Today, we are exploring the history, the design, and the subtle cultural meanings behind these two words that get tossed around far too casually. The story begins with coffins. The word coffin comes from the Old French term coffin, meaning basket or chest. Its first known use in English dates back to the 14th century. And originally, coffins were simple, handcrafted wooden boxes. The shape was purely practical, tapering at the head and foot while staying wider at the shoulders, just enough to fit the human body snugly. This not only minimized the amount of wood required, but also made them much easier to carry. In medieval Europe, coffins were usually made from inexpensive, locally available timber, and their design reflected a priority of economy and function over style. Caskets, in contrast, have a much later history. The term originally referred to small decorative boxes used for jewelry or valuables, coming from the French word cas, meaning case. It wasn't until the 19th century, particularly in the United States, that the word casket began to describe burial boxes. Unlike the utilitarian coffin, caskets were designed to impress. They were rectangular, polished, and often featured decorative handles, plush interiors, and high-quality woods like mahogany, oak, or cherry. This change reflected shifting funeral customs in America, where public viewings and the presentation of dignity became increasingly important. Interestingly, while Europe continued to favor coffins in their traditional tapered shape, the U.S. embraced the rectangular casket. This divergence is largely cultural, demonstrating how funerary practices are influenced by societal values, industrial advances, and regional preferences. If you want to spot the difference between a coffin and a casket in seconds, it is all in the shape. A coffin is 6-sided or 8-sided, narrowing at the head and foot with the widest point at the shoulders. This iconic design is the one most people picture when thinking of historical or classic funerals. The tapered shape was functional as it reduced wood usage and made transporting the deceased easier, especially in the era before motorized hearses. A casket, however, is rectangular with 4 straight sides and right-angled corners. This design is more modern and lends itself to elaborate interior designs, including split lids for viewings, cushioned linings, and decorative metalwork. The rectangular shape also made mass production possible during the industrial era, further cementing its popularity in the United States. Material choices also reflect this distinction. Traditional coffins were primarily wooden, often using local and inexpensive timber. While modern coffins may include metal options, wood remains the most common choice. Caskets, on the other hand, are usually crafted from higher-end materials. Hardwood caskets with polished finishes or metal caskets with protective coatings became symbols of prestige, representing care, respect, and social status in funeral rituals. Coffins and caskets are also shaped by geography. In Europe, especially the United Kingdom, coffins remain the standard. They are still widely used for traditional burials, often retaining that handcrafted look that harks back to centuries of history. In the U.S., caskets dominate funeral practices. The rectangular design and luxurious interiors align with American traditions of memorials and services designed to offer a sense of comfort to mourners. In other parts of the world, preferences vary. In countries like Australia and Canada, both terms are understood. But casket is increasingly used in commercial services, reflecting American influence. Meanwhile, in Africa and parts of Asia, local materials and customs often dictate the design, sometimes blending traditional shapes with modern casket features. You might be wondering if it really matters what word you use in everyday conversation. Probably not. But for those planning funerals or studying cultural history, the difference can be significant. Using the correct term shows respect for both tradition and the wishes of families. A coffin might signal simplicity or historical accuracy, while a casket could reflect modern tastes and ceremonial presentation. Beyond terminology, the difference illustrates broader social trends. Coffins reflect practicality, while caskets embody industrialization and the evolving importance of public memorial rituals. Understanding these nuances gives us a window into how societies deal with death and honor the deceased. So, next time you hear someone say coffin or casket, you will know they aren't just interchangeable words. A coffin is tapered, historically rooted, and functional. A casket is rectangular, polished, and designed to impress. Both carry centuries of tradition and cultural meaning. But they also reveal how humanity's approach to death has evolved over time. It is fascinating to realize that something as simple as the shape of a box can tell us so much about our values. Whether you encounter a coffin in a European village or a casket at an American funeral home, each is a piece of living history, carrying stories of the past while serving a deeply personal role in the present. That is what makes the distinction worth understanding, not just as a matter of words, but as a window into how we honor life, death, and memory. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.